Today on Comm Talk, we're talking about family-friendly comic books. And what exactly does the term family-friendly mean?
Okay, what is happening here?
Where are we?
Glix, give us a situation report.
Currently, we are on the planet Geekery. Be warned, our impossibility drive may cause distortions as we traverse this land. Impending impossibility engaging in 3,
Oh, gosh.
2,
Oh, dear.
1.
Hello, Devoted Geeks. Welcome to Comm Talk, the podcast extension of Geek Devotions, a show from Devoted Geeks who are devoted to letting you know that you are loved. I'm Dallas, and with me is...
Branson.
And Branson, thank you for joining us for episode 78 of Comm Talk, which...
That's crazy.
If you're watching this right now on YouTube, because we do have this on YouTube, it's going to look a little different. We have a backdrop. You guys are going to see us. It's not just going to be the sound wave. Some of our podcasts are still going to be just the sound wave, just to warn you guys. Yeah. But these are a special series that we're doing. We're starting... This is episode 0 of something very special. I'm excited about, Branson. What are we calling this segment?
Bees, Views, and Reviews.
Bees, Views, and Reviews. And we're going to be talking about family-friendly comic books. Our friend Branson here has joined the Geek Devotions family, and he's kind of he's taken on this task of introducing family-friendly comic books for you guys. So we get messages from people often, Branson, people going, "Hey, what's good for my kid to listen to? Mm-hmm. Like what's good, what's not good?
Yeah,
what should they listen to?
Right,
stuff like that." And it's hard. And it seems like it's getting harder.
It is.
Like comics have always been kind of on the edge on some of the stuff, but as of late, it seems like it's getting harder for me to go, check out this book.
Right.
So we're going to talk about this series that we're going to do today. And then next week, guys, next Sunday, there's going to be another podcast, the first official episode of Bees, Views, and Reviews. But before we get into that, I want to introduce Branson to you guys. Some of you guys might remember from our previous episodes of Geek Devotions that you've done. Lady Hawk was the episode you did for us.
Favorite movie ever.
Your favorite movie ever.
Yes.
And so when people get a feel for who you are, get the voice of Branson Boykin. So Branson, if you do us a favor, just introduce yourself to people. What exactly what makes you an expert? Like who is Branson?
I don't know if expert would be the way to describe myself. I've been a fan of comics, superhero comics specifically, ever since I was a kid. I remember that the first comic book that I got on a regular basis was Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
I got the little action figure, and on the back of the package, it had a card where you could send in to get 6 months of any Marvel title you wanted. Well, it was a Spider-Man figure, so of course I got Amazing Spider-Man.
Of course.
And it was in the middle of a Spider Slayer story,
right?
Drawn by Mark Bagley.
Oh.
And for whatever reason, it just latched on to me. It was like, whoa! It's like a Saturday morning cartoon, but it's a book. And ever since then, I've been a huge fan,
right,
of Spider-Man specifically, sure, but just superhero comics in general,
right.
And so, of course, obviously, I was very excited when I became a father.
Yeah,
and I thought, finally, I've got someone that I can share my passion with, and
and you have done well.
Oh, thank you. But being a dad, you look at things differently,
right,
than when it's just you.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm looking at it, I mean, there's stuff that, the content's like, oh, I'm not a fan of that, but the story's still good, so I'll still read it.
Right.
But then I start thinking about, well, I want to share this passion I have with my children. And I don't know if you know this or not, but there's some stuff out there that just shouldn't be shared with children.
True story.
Especially because both of my boys, I'm a Marvel fan, being a
right.
Spider-Man fan and all. Both my boys were born DC fans.
Oh.
They're both Batman fans.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah. And obviously Batman's the Dark Knight.
Right.
So there's a lot of Batman out there that is cool, not something I want to put in front of my kid.
Right.
I tried to show him like Batman Brave and the Bold and the animated series that we watched when we were kids, that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of Batman out there that I just, I was almost embarrassed. I was like, I know that's Batman, son, but we can't watch that movie. Or I know it's Batman, but we can't read that comic book. Right. And so that just started me on this journey of why? Why is it that there's the comics either have to be this kiddie, goofy type thing, or they're the dark, serious, and we're going to have people, decapitated and, things like this.
You're right. There's like no middle ground, it seems like.
Exactly. And I think that's a shame because, like, take, for example, Batman the Animated Series.
Mm-hmm.
That show dealt with some pretty major themes like loss and mental health and things like that. But at the same time, it was a kid's show.
Right.
I mean, it had Batman. So, but I can go back and watch those episodes and think, wow, that really has some deep stuff there. And I wish we had more of that. And I found that as I've looked, there actually are people out there that make stuff that, as far as the content, is something that I could let my sons read. Mm-hmm. But it's entertaining enough that I don't feel like I'm reading a Saturday morning PSA about how you should be nice to each other.
Right.
You know, it's entertaining, it's engaging. I'm like, wow, this is some serious stuff here. But at the same time, you know, if my son wanted to come up and sit in my lap and say, hey, Dad, can I read your comic with you? I'm like, yeah, sure.
Right.
But I had to dig hard to find that. Mm-hmm. And so my idea and what I came to you with was just this idea of, you know, what if we can make a show that promotes these kinds of things?
Right.
So that parents who have kids who are interested in comics and stuff, but you're trying to avert their eyes when you walk through the comic book store.
Right.
You know, where can they go to get this kind of stuff?
Right.
And that's kind of what this podcast is that this brainchild is trying to help parents find that kind of stuff so that, you know, that they can put stuff in front of their kids that they don't have to worry about, oh, what's in here.
Right.
But at the same time, it's entertaining, you know.
Right.
My goal is I want to create that moment where I'm sitting on the couch reading a comic,
Mm-hmm.
and either one of my sons comes up and says, Dad, can I read the comic with you? And I say, sure. And he sits in my lap, and we're turning the page and reading. And at no point do I have to say, we're not going to read that word, or we're not going to look at that page. We're going to skip that part of the story. I want us to be able to enjoy it together.
Right.
But truly enjoy it. You know, not to where, okay, I'm reading this for my kid, but, you know.
Now, for context, how old are we talking about? For your sons, how old are they?
My oldest is 8. My youngest is 3.5.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is the age group that you're dealing with. Now, some people, and we're going to get into this a little bit later, out on the back end of our commercial break we're going to do here in a little bit. We're going to talk about what family friendly is, because family friendly it's a divisive word sometimes.
Right.
Because everyone has their own standards of what family friendly looks like and sounds like. So we're going to talk about that on the back of our break. But I want to encourage you guys, as you're watching this or as you're listening to this, hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, leave comments down below. Let us know your thoughts. You know, maybe you had a similar experience where maybe it was you found a book and you're like, oh, better not let my kids listen to that, you know,
Right.
you know. And I know this is an evaluation a lot of people have to go through as they become parents and as they grow. But let's hear your stories, guys. Leave comments down below. Let us know your thoughts on it. If you're listening to this on Podbean, which is our host for our podcast, there's a comment section there for you guys to leave comments there also. But that being said, we're going to get to a commercial break, and then when we come back, like I said, Brent's going to have a conversation about what exactly is family friendly.
All right, so what we like to do here on the Retro Rewind podcast is at the end of our like section, we do our classic makers, the things that we loved most about the movies we cover. I'll start us off, then we'll go to Paul. The thing I loved most about The Princess Bride was probably the dueling sword scene between Inigo and Dread Pirate Roberts, Wesley. That's just such a great sword fight scene. I love that they use the actual fencing like terminology and techniques. And the only little quibble I have is when Wesley does his spinning
the best sword fight scene ever.
Yes, but when Wesley does his gymnastics high bar routine and lands, you can see the pillow bag or the mat puff up with the dust. You see the outline of it, so it's not perfect. But that is my favorite part about Princess Bride. How about you, Paul?
My favorite thing about The Princess Bride is the movie The Princess Bride. I just love that it exists. I love the story. I love the characters. I love the cast. I love the interaction. It's just it's one of my top favorite films of all time. So I like the whole movie. Paul,
how can that be your top movie when, as good as that sword fight is between Wesley and Inigo, I feel like the one between Inigo and the Six Finger Man should be even more epic, and it's sort of like isn't as good.
It's not better. No, it will be less because Wesley's better, so therefore that fight would be better.
All right, fine. You know what? All right, well, I guess, but now we do have to talk about. Oh, darn it! I always do this. How come I cannot remember one more thing I liked? Comm Talk by Geek Devotions. You're listening to it right now.
All right, and we're back from our commercial break, and joined here again with Branson Boykin, who is taking on a new adventure for us here at Geek Devotions. He's going to be leading a segment for us every month called B's Views and Reviews, where we're going to be talking about family-friendly comic books. And last segment, we kind of got to know who you were and your journey, and of trying to find comic books that were appropriate for your guys, your little dudes. Now they're 3, they're 8, so it's a pretty vast range. And I mentioned that on this half of the segment, we're going to be talking about what exactly is family-friendly, because that's subjective for some people.
Yes.
So, Branson, what does family-friendly mean to Branson?
Well, the thing about family friendly is sometimes it becomes synonymous with kiddie. You know, we think, okay, it's family friendly. That means it has to be okay for the youngest in the family. That means that it has to be Care Bears and Cousins or something like that. You know, just something real easy. But I don't think that's what family friendly should mean. I think family friendly should means it's entertaining for everybody. Yeah, it's okay for the little kid to watch, but it's something that's engaging enough that older brother, older sister, mom and dad, everybody can watch and actually get into.
So we're not talking Teletubbies.
No, we're not talking Teletubbies.
Okay, good, because those are evil.
Yeah, Tiki Wiki. But I guess the best way to kind of illustrate what I think when I think family friendly. Do you remember the fan made Power Ranger film that was real popular a few years ago?
Yeah.
In that movie, it was really well done. I mean, the graphics are cool. It gave it a real updated feel.
Right.
I mean, it updated the story. It delved into some psychological issues, like what happens when you weaponize teenagers to fight a war that can really mess with their heads.
Absolutely.
And it dove into that, which I think was cool. It aged the franchise a little bit to make it more entertaining for adults.
Right.
Which I thought was cool.
Right.
The problem is the way that they did that was they introduced a lot of stuff like drug usage and inappropriate relationships and just stuff that
You had flat out nudity in it.
I don't remember that part.
There was a cut scene that if you go to another page off of YouTube, there was actually a nude scene in it.
Oh wow, I didn't see that version.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it had that.
Yeah, well, there you go though. I mean, it had that stuff, and I remember even not knowing that was there. I remember watching it and thinking, it is Power Rangers, but it's not. It's just it's missing something. And I was watching a reaction that Jason David Frank had, the original Green Ranger, and which, by the way, he's going to be here in Shreveport.
I'm so excited about that.
I am too. But I was watching his reaction, and I saw him kind of wrestle with. He's like, "Look, guys, I know y'all want a darker, grittier Power Rangers. I want that too, but I don't think this is the way to go. I mean, it's still a kid's show.
Right.
There's a brand that you have to recognize." And I remember seeing him wrestle with that and thinking, you know, he's kind of right.
Yeah.
You know, I do want some of the heroes of my youth. I want them updated a little bit so I can enjoy them now as an adult.
Right.
But for some of those guys to do that, you kind of take them away from what made them who they were.
Exactly.
And so my struggle, my journey, if you will, is to try and find the stuff that does both. That, you know, it's engaging and in depth enough that mom and dad are like, wow, this is deep stuff. But it's also entertaining and tame enough that if the little boy or the little girl wants to come in and watch, they can. And mom and dad aren't going, don't look at this part.
Exactly.
You know? And so for me, that's what family friendly means, is literally everyone in the family can sit down and enjoy it. Whether it's a movie, a TV show, a comic book, whatever. Everyone can enjoy it.
Right. Which is honestly something hard to do. I think that we have a mindset here, at least in America, where if it's not this or that, then it's not worth watching.
Right.
And you and I grew up in a time frame where we were starting to push the boundaries. Simpsons, when it first came out 30 years ago, 30 straight years of Simpsons. The fact that they had consecutive 30 seasons in a row is amazing. But I remember when it first came out, now I'm 36 now, and you're 36 too.
Yes.
Right. I remember my mom going, "We're not going to watch that show."
Right.
You know,
my parents were the same way.
It's inappropriate. And those first episodes, like, we ended up watching it. I mean, just what happened. But I remember several months ago, Celeste and I were chilling, and we have Disney Plus, and so we're like, and we're going through it. I was like, hey, check this out. I want to show you. And what my purpose was to show Celeste kind of the evolution of the art style that took place, because it's actually quite interesting how it's evolved over the years. Showed her the very first pilot episode where you meet Santa's little helper, their dog that they have. It is a terribly drawn show. It is. I'm not sure how it made past the pilot, but like we watched a little bit of that. We watched some of the final stuff, and I'm like, the evolution of how far they pushed things was interesting. And I think that's part of the problem is we as a society, we like to continually push the boundaries of things. And some of the things that we grew up, the franchises, they pushed it too far.
Right.
They were purposely trying to get to the point where, like, well, because everyone wants that. Like, we're all like, oh, how far will they go?
Right.
You know, and you can go too far with that. And so we have a variety of books we're going to be reviewing over the next several months. We even got a book in this weekend for you to review. And kind of our general goal, guys, is they're going to be on our website for you to read the reviews. As these podcasts come out, they're also going to be available for you to listen to or watch. And we're going to have links for you guys to be able to buy these things. Now, I want to make sure this is very clear and understated. Unless we say otherwise, we're not being paid. Nobody has said, hey, I'll pay you to do a review. Now, if you want to pay us,
we won't say no.
but we're not being paid for reviews. These are different. In fact, some of these books you bought yourself.
Right.
You saw them and you bought them. We have some people who reach out to us. Hey, we do a review on a book, and want to let you guys know. And Branson knows this. They're going to be honest reviews. They're going to be very open and honest. There are going to be some books that they're marketed as being family friendly, and there may be stuff in there that maybe Branson or myself don't really think is family friendly. And we're not afraid to say that. We're not afraid to go, hey, this is this. But again, reminder, everyone has their own standard of what family friendly is. I'm sure you and I can go through going, I watch this, I watch that.
Right.
Even within our own circles. I remember I had friends who weren't allowed to watch Pokemon. Now, I loved Pokemon. I grew up with Pokemon. Dude, that first gen, I can name all 151 of the original Pokemon. 151.
Wow.
Not 150, 151.
So you actually did catch them all.
I could not. Well, I almost did, actually.
Oh,
I had Red and Blue.
Oh, okay.
I had Red and Blue, the game. And I would play on one Game Boy, and then I'd play another one, and then I had data cable because I had no friends. I would transfer back and forth because there's some Pokemon you can only get by doing that.
Oh, okay.
And so I had almost all 150.
Wow.
But the one I could never get was Mew.
Mew?
Mew.
The cat-like one?
Yeah, the little...
Sorry, I'm not familiar with...
You're thinking Meowth.
Oh, okay.
Mew was the legendary 150 Pokemon. There was a psychic type that nobody could actually get unless they went to... if I remember the stories correctly, a Nintendo event, and you'd plug in and you would get Mew for your. There was a cheat, a hack to get Mew, and it was like a scrambled looking, like it was ghetto rigged. Like you could tell it was a cheat code.
Yeah,
somebody game sharked it. It was bad.
Right.
So not promoting that, but that's what happened.
Right.
So, but we had friends that because of the standards of their household, their family, they weren't allowed to watch Pokemon. Because some people put up terrible information, flat lies about the show. but that's the thing. Everyone has their own thing. So for you guys, it may be that Branson reviews something and goes, hey, this is family friendly and this is great. And for you, it may not be okay. We want you to understand that everyone has their own convictions. Right. Everyone has their own mindsets about what is good and what is not good. Right. And we respect that. And we're asking you guys to respect our what we feel like is family friendly for us too. We're full out disclaimer. Not everything we say will be family friendly for some people.
Right.
And that's okay.
Yeah. My main thing is I just want the parents to be aware so that they can make informed decisions.
Right.
I long since stopped trusting the rating system of the movies they have out there.
Sure.
Stuff they think is, this is PG-13. I'm like, I wouldn't let my 19-year-old watch that.
Yeah.
And some stuff they rate R, I'm like, really? I really think that's all right.
Right.
So I'm going to try to be very, very clear about why I think it is or isn't family friendly and what the content is so that ultimately the parents can make their own decisions.
Right.
Because the last thing I want to do is for a kid to run up and say, well, Branson says it's okay. Why won't you let me watch it? So hear that. Okay. I am behind the parents 100%, being one myself.
Right.
But I just want it to be able to be an informed decision so that you know what's out there. And I also want to call attention to some stuff that I think is really positive that just isn't getting a lot of attention because it's not part of the big companies. It's not Marvel or DC or Image. There's a lot of really talented creators out there that do really good stuff.
Right.
And I just want a chance to point to them and say, hey, look at this guy.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's what we want to make sure we tell you guys is we're not going to be reviewing just like the big three, Marvel, DC, and I say the big three. I guess Image is almost,
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know anymore. So, but you have some independent comics.
Yes.
And like the one that's was sent to us today or this week for you to review, it's from an independent person.
Yeah.
And we welcome that. We
Yes.
welcome independent artists to come in and send us your stuff and let's review it and look at it. You've done reviews of different stuff in the past for us.
Yeah.
Different comic books over the years. You did a manga for us a while back. You did one that's actually done by a guy here from Shreveport.
Yeah.
It's about Shreveport. Wasn't necessarily family friendly. It's
Right,
more on
no.
the teenage stuff.
Right. Yeah.
But that's what we're going to be honest with you guys. So,
Right.
all right, Branson, anything else you want to add to the conversation about what people have to look forward to?
Just that I'm really excited to be able to do this. Really excited to call attention to what I think is some great artwork and great comics. And I look forward to this new journey we're doing.
Awesome. Is there any way that people can connect with you personally to if they go like, hey, I got a book I want you to review?
You can email me. That's going to be at branson.boykin@gmail.com. Just shoot me an email and I'll look at it.
Awesome. We're going to have links in the description down below of the podcast for you guys to be able to do that. And also want to encourage you guys to check out our stuff, geekdevotions.com, where you can find his reviews, devotionals, all kinds of things on our website. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/geekdevotions. And also check out all of our social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just look for Geek Devotions. And finally, I want to encourage you guys, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast. If you're new to our podcast, you stumbled upon us by accident, feel free to subscribe. And also on Apple Podcasts, leave a review. It helps people to find this kind of content. If you believe in this content, if you think this is good content for other people to interact with, please leave a review so people can find it and engage with it. All that being said, remember, stay devoted. Go ahead and say peace and love for me.
Peace and love.
Deuces.